Hey, how you doing? This is Kitch, and you are watching me play Factorio. Whenever the artillery train first came out, I was kind of, I'm not going to say critical of it. I'm gonna say I questioned it. I didn't originally see its use. I totally do now, by the way. I totally see what it's for, and it's actually really handy. Provided you have the infrastructure for it to really shine, and that's probably wasting a shot right there, but I want to go ahead and get it anyway. It has its limitations. You know, for example, we've had it on automated mode, just going around the base, and we do get some bases like this one here that's just not in range of the artillery train in automated mode. There's basically, it's like half, right? This is the manual targeting mode, and this is the automated targeting mode. And it's kind of hard to see because we have a red background, but it's definitely there. Yeah, and I've just been up here. I want to clear out some of these bases that are just kind of out of range, that are giving us some problems. Maybe not giving us problems, but are definitely worth clearing. Yeah, and I don't, we've got so many artillery shells right now. I think we can be very generous with them. One right there. Yeah, it's pretty much makes it where you can totally automate your base defenses. Once you get a perimeter wall and a good little artillery schedule going, it actually works out really well. Laser beam turrets, taking them out. Nice little subtle change. We have a break in our RoboPort network. It was pointed out in the comments, and it was when I put in this intersection. It made it to where this port can, this supply depot can no longer repair this side. So we need to get that taken care of, and we will do that. Let's see. There was a base, this one right here, that's just not quite in artillery range. Let's head toward it. I believe that is Artillery 2. And I want to go ahead and just get that out of the way. We've got most of the issues taken care of on the bus. I increased the amount of green circuits that we're making. I increased the amount of red circuits that we're making. And it's working out pretty well. I had to increase plastic as well in order for it to keep up. And it's got the bus nice and clogged up. We are making control units, so we will have our rocket here fairly soon. And yeah, stop. Yeah, we can see, yeah, we're out of automatic range here, but we should be well inside manual range. Go ahead and take these guys out. And you too. And why not? Guys are just a little bit too close for comfort. And worms. Yeah, we'll take out worms. Nobody likes worms. All right, that's basically what I wanted to clear out. I want to go ahead and head back to base now. And what I want to do in this episode before we launch the rocket is just kind of review some of the mods we have installed. And I also want to fix that RoboPort. So we are going to do that as well. So let's go ahead and roll the intro, and we'll get right to that. All right, so I got the RoboPort placed. We are heading back to base. I kind of want to review some of the mods that we have installed and take a look back at them, see which ones we really like and which ones we're really not so much. The first one I'd like to talk about are more the cosmetic mods, I believe. And one of the cosmetic mods that we've used throughout the series and has been extremely handy is the Afraid of the Dark mod. And you may not know what it does, but if I zoom out a bit, it should become fairly clear. It is dark outside, but when we zoom in, it makes it nice and bright. This is just super nice for recording purposes. Because when it gets dark, it can render really hard to see. It also can render in lower quality, and it's dark outside. It's not optimal. So it's a great mod for that. If I had one criticism of it, it's that it adds all this extra stuff don't even know what these do. What do these do? What's a balloon light? I have no idea. I have no idea. Let's see what that is. That's a little circle. Okay, I assume it's like a high-powered light. Not really caring for that texture very much. But yeah, I never use that stuff. Never use that stuff. So that would be my one criticism. There is a mod out there. It's a Roomba's light mod. I don't know. It's one that a Roomba uses that just has the cone, and that's the one that I would have preferred to install simply because of all the extra stuff. However, it wasn't updated to the latest version, and I think it probably would have worked just fine. I think we probably could have installed it and went with it, but this one seems to be a little bit more popular. So there was a little bit of that too. But a good mod does what it says on the tin. The next fairly obvious cosmetic mod that we have installed, I'm going to call it Cosmetic Plus maybe, is the Alien Biomes mod. It's I don't know, I've liked it. It's been interesting. We have kind of a little new kind of a Martian-y surface kind of thing we've been playing on. It gets really red up here. And really just kind of adds a little bit of flavor. I call it Vanilla Plus or Cosmetic Plus is because a lot of these biomes add so many rocks, where it does affect gameplay. Whereas, like, you know, look at all the biters that have taken out these rocks. We've had so much stone this playthrough. We have not wanted for stone. We just had piles and piles of it in our inventory all of the time. But it's an interesting mod. It gives different biomes basically, different textures, and I've liked it. I've liked it so far. It's been very interesting. And even just looking around, you know, we got this nice little yellow biome here, and nice, I guess you can call that. Over here we have a volcanic one. I don't know that we spent a lot of time over there, but that's really cool looking. It's very rocky, but that's really cool looking. And there's also some snowy biomes and some where, like it looks like the Easter Bunny threw up, that we really haven't had to got to experience much in this playthrough, but they are out there. And it's interesting. It's a really cool, interesting mod. Though it does affect gameplay a little bit. Almost invisible electrical wires. I added this late, but it's another subtle one. And I don't think you notice it until you see the before and after, but it just kind of makes the power poles disappear. Especially down here in like the mall, it just looked like a big wiry mess, and this just makes it go away. And I really like that. I think it's made a huge impact. Subtle as it is, it does what it says it does, and it's a very good mod. I'll probably be using that one from now on. Clean concrete is another subtle one that you may not notice unless you've spent a lot of time without it. But as you lay concrete and stone, you get little pieces of grass and stuff that come up in it, and they're there forever, and they can get extremely annoying if you're wanting a nice little clean concrete. And clean concrete does just that. It basically makes it where those little grassy things no longer pop up. It just takes it all. Now, it doesn't take things like trees. We still have those. We have to go through and manually trim those. But the little grass bits and things like that, I forget what it's called. It has a name. Clutter, something like that. But it's a really great mod, and one that fixes a problem that I don't understand why it's a problem in the first place. Same thing with nice fill. Do I have some landfill? I do. Very small, but a huge detail. Whenever you use landfill in vanilla, it automatically does the green color, which, you know, may not fit the biome that you have around you. So what nice fill does is it basically just matches the biome that you have around. Very nice. Very nice. It's one of those things where I don't understand. I don't know. Very good mod. Highly recommended. Especially if you're in the alien biomes where you don't want this big green patch right here where you've filled in the land. Super small, but still, if you're a player like me, a super big thing as well. Let's see, what else have we had for cosmetic stuff? Factorio is one that is been kind of subtle, but if you look over here, you'll see these gear facilities down here that are lit up. It gives, and the yellow plastic plants over here that have the glow, gives these factories a nice little glow, and it's super subtle, but it kind of acts like a bottleneck mod. It gives the glow, but it also kind of gives you a look at what factories are currently working right now. As you can see, not all our refineries are working, not all of our cracking is working, but we can easily look and see which ones are. And that matches basically the bottleneck colors there on the bottom. Super simple, but really nice. It's one of those that I like it. I think if I didn't have bottleneck installed, I would appreciate it a lot more than I kind of have this playthrough. But since bottleneck's there, my eyes just automatically go to the little dot, so I hardly notice it. I think it'd be one thing where it's one or the other. I'm not sure which one I would prefer more. The problem with Factorio is that if you put lights, it kind of balances that out. It kind of disables that feature where it's not really useful anymore. So I don't know. Maybe it's not quite equivalent to bottleneck, but it's nice. Let's see. The last really cosmetic mod that I can think of that we have installed is the Useful Map Colors mod, which basically makes the map colors useful. There's not just the 3 or 4 different colors out there. For example, one reason why this mod is pretty good is we can take a look at our bus here, and we can see that we've got yellow belt, we've got some red belt and blue belt, and it's just all mixed up. It's a big mess. We can look at this and find problems and issues and things that we may need to fix on the bus. And oh my gosh, I have not been utilizing this mod enough. We've got some stuff we need to take care of. But yeah, it's easy to see where the roboports are. It's easy to see where the factories, the inserters, all that stuff. It makes it just show up on the map and really pop. Like it. I like it a lot. It's been a pretty good mod for this playthrough. I was wanting to come up here and get an extra hopper train going. Did I grab that? I did. Let's do that. Starting to run just a bit low on the copper ore as it's coming in. I think an extra train will help fairly significantly with that. All right, let's go ahead and add a stop to mine copper 2. Very full, and main copper very empty. Go. All right, so moving on from the more cosmetic mods, I want to take a look at what I call the convenience mods, the quality of life mods, if you will. Upgrade Planner is one that looks like it's going to be integrated into vanilla here soon. A version of it, I should say, or at least the functionality of it. Where you can just select some belt here and say boom, and then it just goes ahead and upgrades all that to the belt. We just upgraded all that to blue, at least as much as we could with the amount of belt that we had. Fantastic mod for doing that. I never really used it that much before because I never really had much of a problem with how the belt upgrade process went in Factorio. Until they introduced the fast replacement, and now it's just a nightmare to go and upgrade things that are, especially when there's a lot of complex splitters and undergrounds involved. You're just going to go ahead and replace them all. So that has been a very, very good thing, and one that I've enjoyed. Squeak Through is one that I've kind of always avoided because I felt like it was a little bit overpowered, and I still kind of feel like it is. But it makes it where you can, the hitboxes of things, especially things like pipes, you wouldn't be able to do this before. And I don't know if it's overpowered or not. I kind of like it now that I've been using it. There's been some times I always get hung up in here. This is a place where I get hung up all the time, And that's just not a thing anymore. It also decreases the hitbox sizes of trees, so that's been very, very helpful as well. If you've ever tried to run through a forest in Factorio, you may know that it's an issue. So yeah, I've liked it. I've liked it a lot more than I care to admit that I did. Let's see. Even distribution. Let's talk about even distribution, because it was one of those things that, you know, I knew about it. I never saw the usefulness of it because I felt like its intended purpose was only for like the very first 30 minutes of the game, for filling burner furnaces. But I found myself using it a lot, especially if I've got like a lot of iron in my inventory. I could just, bloop, we can do it there too. Gets rid of it all, evenly distributes it. You know, I kind of take back what I've always said about that mod, that it's only useful for the first 30 minutes of the game. It has a purpose. It's worth keeping installed. I'll say that. Not one of those that I use all the time, but whenever I do have it, I'm really glad that I do. Especially in that phase, whenever you find yourself with a whole bunch of inventory of ore, we can get rid of that fairly easily. What's going on down here? Fix that. Very nice. Okay. So yeah, definitely kind of changed my tune on that one. Vehicle snap has been a nice one. Let's see, do I have my car? Did I put it in my pocket? Yes, I did. It's right here. That one's been really nice. I've been able to use the car a little bit more, especially in the base. It's been something that I've always avoided, and because it's kind of hard to get it. Oh, I'm not doing this justice. But you know, we can use the car on the bus now. It's really, really easy to set it up where you can go straight north or straight south. You no longer have to kind of adjust all the way through. And I'm just going to run into some more pipes here. Give the road construction bots something to do. But yeah, it's definitely nice. I've enjoyed it. It took a little bit to get used to, because it's not as straightforward as you may think. It takes a little bit of adjustment to get that to work, but definitely nice. The car keys mod is extremely handy. I haven't been able to use it much. I was using it in oh, let's see, I haven't claimed my car yet. Let's go do this again. Because I picked up the car, I think. Okay, that's my car. And where's my car? I don't know where it is. There it is, right there. Super handy. I kind of got to the point where I stopped using the car, and I did that. I should have installed this as soon as I got the car, and I think I would have got a lot more use out of that. But as it stands right now, it's a good mod. I see what its purpose is, especially if you're like me and you're constantly using your car. Could we use it for the helicopter? Yeah, so the answer to that question was a big no. That kind of killed us there. Kind of crashed the game. So yeah, don't use the helicopter with the car keys. Important safety tip. And let's move on from there. Yeah, that basically just crashed everything. Okay, so yeah, that was the car keys as well as the vehicle snap. The last one I want to put in this category is the belt brush, and I like it. I think it's super handy when it's super handy. My problem with it is, so that is that, right? Okay, let's flip over to this, and we'll do it on the same side. If we could get just a little bit of consistency there, I think it would work out a lot better for me. And there may be some like little rule that I'm missing there, but now I have to go to this side. Oh, and it did it. Try that again. There we go. Oh, see, now it's going backwards. I don't know. It's a little bit weird, a little bit goofy, and it doesn't feel very consistent to me. But you know, I guess I did use it a lot, especially for doing outposts, things like that. It's extremely handy. Whenever you're running like stuff like this, it's almost necessary to use it. Yeah, it's got some problems, but it's actually pretty good. Next, I don't know, I'm gonna call these like kind of novelty mods, and it's one of those things that I always thought I wanted until I actually installed it, and once I installed it, it was kind of meh. The one was the wood harvester. I don't know if you remember that one. We used it a lot in the beginning, and I guess looking back on it, without that mod, this would have been a very, very different playthrough in the first couple of episodes. So it was very handy. We lost the usefulness of it really, really quick. I don't know. I guess that makes sense. I mean, once you get, whoa, no, why are you shooting? Don't shoot. You're shooting. I don't want you to shoot. Okay, that was weird. It's happened to me before, where all of a sudden, Factorio just wants me to shoot, and it just shoots a lot, and I don't know what that's about. I was just over there trying to clear out those things, and instead I basically blasted the entire base. It happens, I guess. Not much you can do about it. But yeah, the wood harvester, it's okay. It's all right. Certainly was very handy. Of course, my point in doing that was to say that once you get the robots, it's pretty much over, and you're done with that, and you can put it in the reverse factory. There's a lot of recycling mods out there. And I tried out several of them. I went with this one because it's the one that works. It's handy. It does what it's supposed to do. Let's see. What do we want to deconstruct? Let's deconstruct some felt. It just breaks it down into its base components, which is fine. Why I wanted something like this is because I end up with a lot of things that we really don't do stuff with much anymore. Things that can't be turned into something else. Things like, see, I think I've already recycled them all. Like power poles. We can go ahead and get some copper out of those, right? If we throw that in there. I was throwing stone furnaces in there. I was throwing single splitters in there for some reason. I don't know why, but it's handy. There are a couple of more that I found a little bit more intriguing. Some that were more complicated. They had multiple steps. There was one where you had to like shred stuff and then smelt it back into its base components, the one that I really wanted. The problem I had with that mod is it added a whole bunch of extra garbage, and it made this screen like take up the whole screen, and there were scroll bars. It was just a big mess. And yeah, that's how shallow I am. If it's gonna mess up this screen, we're not using it. That's what that's all about. So yeah, I stopped basically wanting to use that. It's okay. It does good work. I'm not going to complain about it. We've got a lot of wood coming in here now. You know what? We need to set up this other requester chest to take wood. Let's go and take the bar. So yeah, those are both novelty mods. I don't really know if I will use those again. Especially the recycling one. I just wanted to kind of check them out. And I always thought we needed a recycling mod for things like the stone furnaces and the burner furnaces, things like that. But I think in reality, just going and setting them up to throw the wood in there as well. Just putting them in the box and blowing up the box may be the best way to actually go about that. And we get around that. I'm just gonna hit all the power lines here. The most awesome driver mod, if that would have worked, it basically it gave me an error whenever I tried to load a save game with it, and it wouldn't load the save until I disabled the mod. So yeah, we had to get rid of that. But it was fun. I would like to see what my score is now. Probably like 5,000. So yeah, I think those are most of those mods. The next kind of section I have is mods that are, I don't know, I call them utility mods, I guess. Mods that kind of just help out with things. The to-do list, I put in that category. It's extremely helpful. Especially if you're going at the beginning when you've got a lot of stuff that you say you're going to do in a YouTube series and you forget to do it. It's extremely handy for stuff like that. I think in the Impractical Factorio series, I did the thing where you go on the map and like put map markers to make your to-do list. It was useful. It works. It definitely helps me out a lot. So I do like that mod. I could see it being extremely handy on a multiplayer server. And the next time I do that, we will probably have this, because we can actually assign, or we can, I want to take that. That's mine. Kitch gets to build the rocket. I don't know, it seems like it would be extremely handy on a multiplayer server. Also in that category, I put Bottleneck, which is, the icons that show up. It's handy. It's extremely handy. I've definitely used it to see, like, okay, we've got a problem right here. Why are these all red? Because we have power poles right here, and that's probably been there a long ways. And if I would have paid attention and used Bottleneck more often, we would have known that, and we wouldn't have had that problem. So, basically, red means they're not getting enough, yellow means they're backed up, and green means they are functioning properly. It's handy. It's a good mod. I've always avoided it in the past because it used to have some performance issues, and it's one of those things where those have probably been fixed 5 years ago, and I just have that bias in my head. I hate to admit that I do things like that, but I do. Oh yeah, we disconnected you guys in order to help. Let's see, this is probably going to make the factory screech to a halt by hooking up these productivity modules again. But if that's what it'll be, then so be it. Handy mod, I think it's going to be helpful a little bit later for some of the plans that I have. It's going to be really nice. Wish I would have used that in Mega Basics. It would have been handy. And you may kind of know where I'm going with that. Okay, so the other one we had was the pipe highlighter. Extremely cool mod, especially if you're troubleshooting pipe problems, like I am sometimes. Let's see, is it shift? Control. Do I have to have the pipe? I don't remember. No, I thought it was shift and click. Ah, there we go. We got it. The shift click. You highlight the pipe, and it basically just highlights the whole path. So this is our lubricant. It comes all the way up here and comes all the way down here into our lubricant tank. Wonderful. Wonderful. Petroleum, a little bit more complex, but we can see its whole life. If you've got pipes that are crossed, oh, what a wonderful mod. Not used very often, but when it's used, it can be extremely handy. See, there's our water supply coming in, just going straight into the bus. Nice mod. All right, so my next category I have is the stupidly, wickedly overpowered mods. Number one I have on that list is laser weaponry. This laser gun is just craziness. It's super powerful. The criticism I have of it, I guess, is that it doesn't act like, it acts more like a shotgun. Well, you've seen me take out the solar panels there. You've seen me take out my train. You've seen me take out my helicopter with it. You've seen me take out a lot of biter bases with it. So it's got its ups, it's got its downs, but it's a very fun mod. Super useful for clearing out biter bases, but also super useful for taking out trains and helicopters and half of your base as well. You know, we're still not done with that mod. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted to do. We still have another level of it. Laser minigun. We can get a more powerful version. They can take out even more of our base with it. And I'm looking forward to that. We also have the helicopters mod. I think this is stupidly overpowered in a base this size. However, in a very large base, I think that's where this mod is really going to shine. in this size of base, it's just kind of dumb. You can get everywhere with trains. But if we were to expand this base out, I can see this being very, very useful, especially for going out and like scouting out things, finding resources, stuff like that. It's gonna be super handy, and for just coming out and attacking some biters. And let's try to land here and not blow it up with the laser gun, but we can do a little bit of laser gunnage as well. Yeah, this thing is just ridiculous. And you know what? We haven't even hit like behemoths or anything like that yet. I'd be curious to see if it's going to be able to cut through those as well, or if it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. I can't imagine it being. But yep, super good. And also in the overpowered category, I put the fill for me. I guess this would be like the autofill kind of equivalent as well. It's good. It's okay. I think the overpoweredness comes when it comes to like clearing biter bases. It just make them stupid easy. And the one thing I didn't like about it is it wasn't very good for setting up base defenses because you couldn't control the percentage of ammo that you put in there. I would have liked to have put a lot more ammo in there. And I know I'm sitting here saying that it's stupidly overpowered and then saying it's not powerful enough. I'm aware of that. But its only use for me right now is that it is completely overpowered, if that makes sense. I could have controlled myself a little bit more and just said, okay, we're not going to use that for clearing biter bases. And at that point, if it's just for setting up turrets for base defenses, if it's only going to put 25 bullets in there, it's useless to me. That's my thought on that. It's nice, but either overpowered or useless, depending on how you look at it. All right, so now that we've talked about those, I want to get to my absolute favorite mods of this series. They're not categorized by anything other than the fact that they are my favorites and the ones that I utilize and like the most. And cannot see myself playing in the future without, although I probably will. I'll probably be complaining that I don't have them anymore. And that is going to be, let's see, do we need these down here? I don't think so. I think those were for when we were clearing out the stone line. Did we ever get all that stone cleared out? Looks like it. I haven't checked the copper lines to make sure all that has gotten out. Oh, we still got some stone there. Okay. All right, so let me just get to get to my list over here. Let's see, we've got auto deconstruct, which is nice. One of the things, I don't know, it's not a necessity for me, but it's one of those things I just kind of have to do, is to come over here and just trim off miners as they get. It just has to be done. You just got to do it. I don't know why. So this one to just automatically mark them to be deconstructed, to get them where they can be recycled back into the system. Super handy mod, and really like it. If we take a look at one of our outposts, let's take a look. Oh, let's take a look at this one. We have a trash chest here that has 74 miners in it. Granted, we haven't sent out a train to go pick that stuff up, but if we did, it just goes ahead and automatically cleans it up for it. So those miners can go off and be used somewhere else. Super nice, and does something that I generally like to do anyway. This one is necessary, right? And so is that. There we go. And we probably don't need 4 lines, but I'm not gonna go that crazy with it. Let's see, equipment hotkeys. I got used to it. I've actually found that I spent a lot more time with my roboports disabled than not. But super handy, and I've really liked it. What's going on with coal right now? Okay, I guess it's all just going to plastic. Is that what I'm seeing? Let's turn off that output priority and let's get a little bit more coal running, because if it's affecting smelting like it looks like it is, that might be one of our issues. I mean, it's got to be, right? It's the only thing using coal. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, super handy. And, you know, I've just found myself with my roboports disabled most of the time, and then when I'm building something, to turn them back on. Because, I mean, in reality, that's what you're doing most of the time, is just doing things that's not involving construction. So, why do that? It makes just a lot more sense to me. And, it's a super handy mod, and, I definitely, I'm going to be using it in the future. Blueprint shortcuts. I've used that a lot, and it's pretty great. Some of this functionality is going to be coming into vanilla here soon, so it's going to be a short-lived mod for me. But this is the one I've been doing Control-C, and this just gives a temporary blueprint that you can just basically use. You don't have to go through the whole blueprint stuff. Just Control-C, and I want a blueprint of this, and put it, and then it just disappears. You don't have to delete it. You don't fill up your inventory. It's excellent. Let's see, we can do a Control-A. I actually rebound this. I don't know what it was before. And this gives us our kill trees and rocks deconstruction planner. And I think it's Control-Z that just gives us the regular deconstruction planner that we can use. And that's super handy. Super handy. I really like that. As far as a quality of life thing, for somebody that uses a lot of blueprints like I do, it is a must-have. Where did all our copper go? Where did all our copper go? Is it coal? No, we've got coal coming in. Is it ore? It must have been another ore hiccup. We've been getting ore hiccups. We're not getting enough copper ore. We need to do something about that. Outpost Planner. I really like that mod. You may have seen, I've started to build all the outposts with it. I did the one with Auditorio for the pump jacks. I haven't tried Outpost Planner for a oil setup yet, but it looks like it supports it just fine. So I'm gonna have to actually try that out. And we'll get to that. But I mean, just making these outposts, you just select it and it puts in. I've got my mining blueprint that it's using, and it just puts it in and. Oh, it's fantastic. I like that mod. Going to be using that a lot. And really, my top two mods are all involving research. And I have a hard time deciding which one I actually like better. I like them both, but for different reasons. So the quality of life research mod has been outstanding. It's been really subtle, and it's one of those things you just kind of barely notice. It just kind of creeps in. How far can I reach? Can I take that out? No, I can't. I can reach that far now. Yeah, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that before. Go ahead and fix those. But, you know, it's just those things. The player speed has increased slowly over time. The inventory has increased over time. The manual crafting speed has increased over time. It's just these subtle little things that, just as we've played the game, have just increased over time. And it's been extremely handy. And I've very much liked it. Another really big thing that I like about this mod that's a little bit more subtle is that, let's just take a look at the research screen right now. We're getting ready to launch a rocket. I have not researched anything with nuclear. We still have logistics slots. We still have, let's see, that's infinite research. What do we have? Follower robot counts. We don't have nuclear fuel reprocessing. We don't have grenade damage 5. We don't have, we don't even have mining prototype. It's just a thing where it adds enough items to the research tree where it really slows down research, and that has always been one of my big criticisms of this game. is that research really doesn't matter. You don't really make any research decisions after you decide to make like logistics and automation. You're so far ahead research-wise, at least the way that I play, that there are no meaningful research decisions. You just, I mean, watch my older. I'm just like, whatever's in the upper left-hand corner, select it, research. That's what I'm doing most of the time, and it slowed it down a lot and kind of made it feel a little bit. You know, when we were talking about making rocket parts earlier, or rocket fuel, I forget what it was. I hadn't researched it yet, and I was pretty far away from it, and I was kind of shocked by it. I was like, oh my gosh, how could we be so far away? It just adds all these little things in here. Player reach, movement speed, mining speed, all these tiny little things that just kind of come in and are added in there that it just adds to the tree and slows down research a lot. And that's one of the bigger reasons why I like it. Granted, it's really nice to reach far away, and it's nice to earn that rather than just to install, you know, reach and infinite, make it infinite, or make you be able to reach all the way across the map. Let's see, where are we at right now? About a quarter of the map is what we can reach. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe a fifth of the map is as much as we can reach on a full zoom out. That's pretty good. Okay, but I'm going to stop gushing about that mod. And my absolute favorite mod that we've used this playthrough is got to be the auto research mod. Oh my gosh, it has been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. All my complaints about this game, I would say most of them are about science. It's no surprise that my two favorite mods of this series have been science related. I just don't know what to say about it. It just automatically picks the science and researches it. It takes it completely off the table. You don't have to worry about it. You don't get the science pop up that just really and distracts you from whatever you're doing. You don't have to say, just pick the upper left hand. It just automatically does it for you. It's a fabulous mod. Absolutely love it. I will play with it from now on in every modded playthrough. We are doing that. That will be the first mod that I install. Love it that much. You know what? We forgot to talk about Single Splitter. I like the mod. It's a little bit goofy. It doesn't have an animation or anything like that, like the other splitters, and it doesn't have the updated textures or anything like that. And it kind of does something a little bit weird, but I do want to at least mention it, though, because I've used it all over the place. It's very handy. It solves the problem where you get this, where there's all this stuff lined up just on one side of the belt. When you see something like that, let's put in one of those guys. Can we put in one of those guys? We can't put in one of those guys. We don't have this stuff. You just put in one of those guys, and it's not a problem anymore. Granted, there are lane balancers that you can do. The problem is that they're so big. They're so large. Even the smallest, simplest one is going to be too wide, right? Let's see, we can't do that over there. Do it like right here. Even like that one right there. And it doesn't pull perfectly. It just kind of grabs every other one and puts it on the other side. And I mean, that's big and bulky. Why not just have one of these that will do it for you? So, yeah, I forgot to mention that one. Because I mentioned it last, doesn't mean that it made the top of the list. Auto Research definitely gets that. But I like this. I like it. I like it a lot. I wish the icons were I wish the graphics were a little bit better, but it's one of those things where it totally doesn't matter because the functionality's there. All right, so that's me gushing about the rockets, or gushing about all of the mods. There were several mods that were suggested, and I would like to play them. The problem is that a lot of them that were suggested really would require to get the full feeling of them. It's not a mod that you would install at this point in the game. It would be a mod that you would dedicate a playthrough around. That's what a lot of the suggestions were. And they weren't like Angels or Bobs. There's a whole bunch of them that, for example, like Factorio Miso or whatever. You know, it's kind of, you kind of plan a playthrough around it. You know what I mean? You don't just kind of add it in later. And some of the others that modify recipes or make science more difficult, things like that. They're things that I would like to do someday, maybe. Just, you know, it needs more of a playthrough wrapped around it. It's not something you'd add into a Factorio kind of plus campaign. There's also been some mods that have recommended that I do want to get into. And we will probably get to those just a little bit later. My plan for this series right now is, this is going to be the last episode of this series. Sorry if that wasn't apparent. But launching the rocket in a playthrough where we're making the starting base, that's kind of where that ends up. So this is going to be the last episode of this series, and we're going to be starting a new one here very soon, where we're gonna take this one off to a mega base. I've got a couple of ideas what I want to accomplish with it. But I'm not sure which one of those ideas I want to go for. So I'm going to think about that a bit. If you have some ideas, leave them in the comments below. But yeah, we'll just see where that goes. But yeah, once this one is once this one's complete, once this one goes out, I'm going to be starting the next series shortly after, maybe a couple of days after. And kind of like we did with Practical Factorio, where we'd let it right into Mega Basics, we are going to take this base and move it on to the next level. That's why I built all this stuff on this side of the bus, to allow for some future expansion. That's why I started with the big solar fields, to allow for future expansion. And that's why I try to keep everything kind of tight in and not hit some of the bigger patches that were further out there. It's to save those for further expansion. And I'm hoping there's some more copper out here. I'm a little bit panicked about that. We do have a small one right here. We've already drained this one for like 1 million copper already. So I'm hoping there's some more around there, where it may be a very, very short Mega Base series. But yeah, that one is going to be ready to go. I've had a lot of fun with this series. I've had a lot of fun playing with the mods. I wish I could have found some more. I wish it didn't kind of sputter out there toward the end as far as mods are concerned. But boy, we got a lot of them in there. We got a lot farther with it than I thought we would. Okay, well, let's go ahead and launch the rocket. Let's set auto launch with cargo. Let's hook up our satellite. And yeah, we'll let that process go. We'll let the rocket fire up. You got to run up with it, right? Yeah, you got to. Let's see how far we can make it. Not very far. Okay, but awesome. Awesome. We finished the game. Excellent. 31 hours. I think that is actually a little bit better than what we've done before. Did I die this time around? I don't know. Does it tell? I thought it said on here. I feel like I did. I feel like I did once or twice in the beginning there. Huh. Boy, we killed a lot of spitters, didn't we? All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. These Factorio series are always so much fun to play. Really, really, really enjoy them. I'm probably going to spend a little bit of time just kind of figuring out what's going on with this base. Trying to get it a little bit better balanced. I don't know what happened to all our ores. What happened to all our coal. But yeah, we will be starting a brand new series very, very shortly. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you then. Have a good one.